This news update is brought to you by This is the 6 p.m. Barbados Today update for Thursday, September 11th, 2014. I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. The Barbados Agricultural Society lashes out at the Hotel and Tourism Association for its position on one of the conditions attached to duty-free concessions. Yesterday, Finance Minister Chris Sinclair announced the concessions will be made available to hotels next week, but with conditions. One of them is for a memorandum of understanding to be signed with the BAS and the Barbados Manufacturers Association. It's a condition which concerned BHTA President Sunil Chatrani, but BAS CEO James Paul has described the concern as diabolical.
When I listen to the comments made with Mr. Chatrani, I'm really at odds, because he is implying that, first of all, he wants the concession, but he does not want to sign the MOU. That certainly is something that we cannot support. And I will be appealing, even directly to the Minister of Finance, that do not grant the concessions to any hotel or restaurant, for that matter, who haven't taken club, unless they are prepared to sign that MOU.
More reaction to the decline in registration at the University of the West Indies Cayfield campus. Opposition leader Mia Mottley believes government's move to cut tuition support for Barbadian students will cause the society to implode in about 10 years. Addressing a People's Assembly meeting last night at UE, Mottley maintained that the island cannot move forward without the education of its people because there's nothing else to rely on.
We have nothing else upon which to rely but our people. And if at this stage, in the beginning, it has already caused as much confusion, and it has already led to so many people recoiling from wanting to come here, then I fear for the fate of this university, but more so for the fate of our country as we move forward.
In other news, a new study shows that Barbados is the #1 contributor to Canada's foreign exchange earnings from the offshore sector. The announcement was made this morning when Canadian international business professor Walid Hijazi presented findings of research to a World Forum on International Financial Centers at the Hilton Hotel. Professor Hijazi said if Canada had not used Barbados as its offshore conduit to the world market, it would not have been able to earn up to $3.1 billion last year.
Now, when you look at the top 8 or 9 offshore financial centers relevant for Canada, you look at Barbados and how Barbados is just much further ahead, and the next closest jurisdiction would be the Cayman Islands, which would be 1/2 of what Barbados receives.
Meanwhile, Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Delel Worrell, who attended the same forum, tells Barbados Today the study demonstrated this island's net worth, which was built on the value of its double taxation treaties. Dr. Worrell says Barbados continues to benefit significantly from Canada's investment.
We know from the revenues that we've received from our corporation tax, we know from the investments that people who have come here and established companies have been able to employ Barbadians. The employment in the sector is in the region of, I believe, about 3,000 to 4,000 all told at the moment. So those are incomes which are generated in Barbados. The companies employ services of Barbadians, legal services, all kinds of services, sort of cleaning services, office supplies, and so on. So there's a whole multiplier effect which the sector has created in Barbados.
As police look for Nepaul Trotman's killer, his family and loved ones are trying to come to grips with his death and are hoping lawmen catch the culprit soon. Trotman died last night at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital after being shot earlier in the day. He'd been on the beach at Fitz Village when a gunman shot him around 11 o'clock.
All these manly, nothing too much. He's the type of father, right? That like, he get a baby from me. He take that. He owed me and he jumped for the rest of him. That is the man want. Don't mind us and don't just we're going through and stuff, but.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
To our Caribbean neighbors now, the votes are in and the tally will begin in another hour. Montserratians will know in a few hours who will govern the country for the next 5 years. Decision 2014 is between the ruling Movement for Change and Prosperity of Premier Ruben Meade and the opposition People's Democratic Movement headed by Donaldson Romero, while the Minority Alliance Party and a number of independents are also hoping for a mandate. 9 seats are at stake in the election, which is being monitored by an electoral observer mission. On the international scene, relief at the United Nations as 45 of its peacekeepers who were seized in the Golan Heights were free today. The peacekeepers were captured 2 weeks ago by an Al-Qaeda affiliate, a day after rebels seized control of a border between Syria and the Israeli-occupied territory.
At 14:30 local time, 45 Fijian peacekeepers who had been detained were handed over to UN Disengagement Observer Force at Position 80 in the Golan Heights. Subsequently, the peacekeepers crossed to the Bravo side at Position 37B and are currently at Camp Fuar undergoing medical attention. We understand that they are in good condition.
And that's where we end our 6 p.m. update. We'll be back again at 7 tomorrow morning. Until then, you can log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper and our email updates, and of course, like us on Facebook to get more news and sports. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or on Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. I'm Dawn Paris. Have a wonderful evening, and don't forget, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
This news update is brought to you by